volume of brake fluid.
This is garage night. I'm Woz, and that's Pete over there doing the filming. How are you, Pete?
I'm doing okay.
There's
thank you very
Trent
much.
over there.
Hi Trent, say g'day.
G'day.
Basically, we're a bunch of blokes and we get together once a week to work on our bikes, just get away from our homes and our families and put some time into our motorbikes. This here is our friend Richard's bike. He'll be out here in a while, we hope. He's cooking dinner for his missus at the moment.
He's nice like that.
What's that?
He's nice like that.
Yeah, no, he's a good husband. This is a BMW F650. At the moment, about the only thing that's keeping it off the road is that it needs some work done on the water pump. What does it actually need done, Trent? Can you?
I believe these models are particularly prone for the water pump seal leaking, and so they pump water into the oil goes all cloudy and not very good for the engine, obviously.
So what's the kit that you have to, what do you actually have to do to fix the pump? Do you have to replace the whole unit, or?
Yes, inside the cover in here, this is the shaft, goes straight through the middle there. There's an impeller and a shaft and a couple of seals basically that need replacing. Fairly straightforward job. Unfortunately, you have to take this whole clutch cover off here.
Great BMW design.
KTM rider speaking.
Again, not such a huge problem, but BMW have put this clever oil line right in the way so you can't get the cover off. And to get that oil line out is a fairly major task. Now, one of the modifications Richard has done on one of his other bikes is to replace that line with a flexible one so that it goes in a much longer route, but it makes getting that clutch cover off much easier.
So that's a tip for your F650 owners.
Yeah, so I guess he'll be doing the same thing on this one.
Once that's fixed, it's really just a matter of us putting all the tank and all the shrouds and everything back on, isn't it, really? And it's back. This bike's back on the road. It's an F650 GS Dakar, isn't it? Which is a sort of
it's got a 21-inch front wheel.
The more dirt-oriented of the F650s. There's one that comes with a 19-inch front wheel, and Trent can probably tell you a bit about his experience with F650s. He's done a bit of time in the saddle with these bikes.
Yeah, they're, we had the slightly older ones. This is the fuel-injected one. We had the old carburetted ones. My wife Jackie and I rode them from here, England, and London, back to New Zealand over about a 2-year period.
Any problems? Any problems with them?
Not really. They were pretty reliable.
Yeah.
Bearings, brake pads, chains, sprockets, all that normal sort of stuff for thousands and thousands of miles. The engines, no, pretty rock solid.
Hey Richard, give us a smile.
Fancy bike outside. Hey. Delighted to be here. Thank you.
We didn't tell you couldn't do that. Well done.
It's a boy.
A little bit of head on there. Tell us about your bike, Woz.
I've got a Cagiva Elefant 750. A what? It's actually, it happens to be a model of bike that won the Paris to Dakar twice. Okay.
So did this, didn't it? No, it didn't.
No, I don't think these ever did.
It's one of
do they compete?
It's one of ones.
I'm not sure. I think you better read your history books.
I think you find
How many times the KTM on it?
I mean, they're just a cheap and cheerful bike, everyone. So they're bound to win, aren't they? I have this Cagiva Elefant that it is running at the moment, but I'm also doing what Richard's doing and trying to put an inverted front end on it, but from another Cagiva Elefant. My model didn't have that front end. I bought one off the same model. It's going to be a lot more of a straight bolt-on arrangement, but at the moment I'm just refurbishing a lot of the parts. So this is my job at the moment. Is this is one of the fork. This basically sits here on my bike and the guard is mounted on that. They're a bit weak, they crack, so I make up these steel reinforcements, just cut them out with a pair of tin snips and bend them and glue them on with long setting araldite, and that just stops it from breaking again. And one of the other things I've been doing is, these are the yokes or triple clamps, and I've just basically, the paint was all falling off them because obviously it's from a second-hand bike, so I've just been painting them up. Alright, so this is the little workshop downstairs. This is where all the precision stuff gets done, i.e. there's a vise and there's hammers, and there's even a wrecking bar over there. I've been doing some painting. As I was saying, I'm putting an upside down inverted forks on my bike as well. This is one of the triple clamps or yokes, and I can use this to explain a bit of what I was talking about before. This would be the bottom part that the forks go down through. The top one goes on here. The headstock of the bike, or the steering head is here, and there's another clamp here, and that nut screws down. I've basically stripped the paint off this, and I've now repainted it with just, we haven't got a paint shop set up quite yet, so I used this, the nearest paint I could find to the original paint was a Ford graphite grey that, I don't know, probably matches some
Zephyr or something.
Ford Zephyr or something like that, out of a tin, and I put a couple of coats of that on. I think I did 3 coats, and now I'm just lacquering it. So that's got the first coat of lacquer on, and it doesn't look too bad. It's fairly glossy, and I'm quite happy with that actually. There's a question as to the durability of paint that comes out of a can and whether it's as good as paint that's been applied with a proper spray gun that you run off an air compressor and all that stuff, but we don't have that, so this is what we've got to work with. So I've got a heater going down here just because it's cold and rainy and wet at the moment, which are exactly the opposite of the sort of conditions that you should be spray painting in. I'm going to just open the door to let some of the fumes out, because this does generate quite a few fumes. I don't know much about spray painting, but I'll give you a bit of an idea of how I think it should be done based on what some more knowledgeable people have told me. You need to have your nozzle about a foot from the job that you're working on, and I guess that might be different if you're using proper spray gear. But you should start spraying. Don't get up there and go, and squirt straight onto it. Start the stream, press the button, press the nozzle, and start the stream before you actually move on to the job that you're spray painting. So you've got a nice clean stream happening, and it's not just sort of sputtering and splurting out big gobs of lacquer onto your job. So just sort of start it out here and then move across the job. And just don't get too close, just the whole time you're just drifting the paint or the lacquer onto the job. So I've just taken over the camera for a minute. We just thought we'd show you another long-term project.
It's only been 2 years. It's only been 2 years, to be fair.
That's plenty of time.
This is a Ducati Monster S2R?
No, well, originally it started its life as a 1000S, which is the one with the twin-sided swing arm. At the time, Ducati were making the 800 S2R, and I thought how cool it would be to have a 1000cc.
What are you doing over there, Pete?
Carry on.
To have a 1000cc single-sided swing arm Monster. So kicked off this project, and in the meantime, obviously Ducati have done exactly the same thing and made exactly the same bike.
They copied you.
And they did.
Off the shelf.
But I'm still going ahead with it. Really what I want to do is strip it. I mean, it's pretty much been stripped down completely at the moment. There's nothing actually inside the engine, all the gearbox and everything is gone. I need to get the cases all sandblasted and repainted. I want to change the colour scheme completely of the bike.
Is the plan for it to be a race bike or street bike?
No, just a street bike, but just a really nice example of a Monster.
This is what they call the DS engine, I think, isn't it? So that's
correct. Dual spark.
Dual spark, Ducati twin cylinder, 2 valves per cylinder. Same basic engine actually as my Elephant has got, and as Ducati have been using for years and years, and they've extended the life of the engine with all sorts of things. They've made 4-valve heads, 3-valve heads, but the bottom end of the engine is the bottom end of the engine has remained basically the same.
Yeah, exactly right. In fact, if you see pictures of them, you'll think, oh my god, they look exactly the same. They've used the same bottom end for every engine they've got. And while in actual fact that looks like they're case. It's not quite.
Yeah.
There are slight modifications all over the place that they've made for different models as they've gone along.
One thing we did neglect to mention is our tool cabinet here. That's where we keep the most. This is the most vital piece of equipment in the shed.
Indeed.
So, yeah. And that was
It's the most used
Richard's Mrs. Fiona is very supportive. She actually donated that carton of beer, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She wanted to get rid of Richard for a night or so, well, she'd send him out here and allow him to have a few beers, etc.
Richard, while you're working away there, I want you to tell us a bit of your history with Pete and with the other bike that's sitting over there that we're fitting the KTM front end to, that it has to be said you seem quite sentimentally attached to.
I learned to ride a bike at the end of 2002, start of 2003.
Wouldn't tell me that.
Well, no, it didn't seem appropriate to reveal that when you're about to embark on a little trip. So, something like that. I can't remember the exact dates, but it wasn't very long. So, and I had great ambitions to ride a motorcycle to Singapore for various
From
reasons.
London.
From London. So, given the fact that I didn't know the first thing about a bike, other than that I failed my test twice for a licence,
Definitely didn't tell me that.
it wasn't my fault. that bloody foot down business. That I eventually got this licence business sorted out, and then I had to try and find someone who's willing to perhaps buddy up for this trip. I happened upon this website, which I'd never heard of, called Horizons Unlimited. You know, travelling to Singapore, blah blah blah. You know, is anyone interested? And I was really hoping that some, 6-foot Scandinavian blonde would respond and.
6 foot, you wouldn't know what to do with that.
Well, I tell you what, mate, I'd give it a go. But I was obviously quite hopeful of a positive response. And a day went by and nothing, and 2 days went by and nothing, and I figured she obviously wasn't reading her, checking her emails and stuff, or whatever, checking the website. So then I got this email from someone. I can't remember if you spelt your name properly or whatever else. It was a pretty average email, but it basically said, "I'm going to India. Perhaps we should meet up." Obviously very non-committal. So then I think we spent a couple of weeks just working out this visa business.
Yeah.
Which was it's a challenge for anyone doing these trips, the carnet and the visa and how it all fits together and the timing. And
Luckily, a lot of the info was available via this website, so scoured that.
Horizons Unlimited.
yeah, very, very good.
Also got hold of some other guys that had done the trip before. A bunch of South Africans. Damien, he was the man. He'd set up Africa Twin, which is the same bike as I had, so I got a good lot of info from him on it. And also
Honda Africa Twin, for those who are not familiar with the
bike. And he had a lot of experience he'd gone through the whole visa getting process, so we got all the timings right, worked out, because I was only going to spend a couple of months getting over there, we could get them all before we left.
Which was a very smart move.
Saved a lot of hassle.
Remember some of the guys we met in Turkey who couldn't get into Iran or whatever because they hadn't done their visas. They couldn't get them in Istanbul.
I think being Kiwis helped at that time.
Yeah.
This was just around about the end of the start of the...
Well, mid-03.
So it was the start.
Yeah, so the second Gulf War had just kicked off, really.
Things were kicking off a bit, but
A little bit worried about that. But.
We'll leave it there for now, but so the bike over there is the bike that Richard embarked on his trip to Singapore on. So this is the Queen Bee, really, the KTM 950, which I think is the bike that we all wish our bikes could be.
no.
It's done a big tour of South America, this bike, with Pete in the saddle, so...
Yeah, it was good. I had another bike, an Africa Twin, which I rode to India with Richard. And I was going to take that, but the guy that I rode around South America with, he bought one of these first. And this one came up quite well priced, so I bought it as well. And it's quite a weapon, really. It's double the horsepower of the Africa Twin, but the suspension is so much better on it, the forks. And anyway, it's just an absolute joy to ride, especially in gravel. First time I hit gravel in it in southern Argentina, I shat myself. We were doing 30 or 40, 50 kilometres an hour, and it was moving all over the place. It was horrible. About a month later, we were doing 100, 120 on the gravel, and it was great. It really covered it very well. As you can see, it's covered in mud. I didn't have it clean before I came back from Colombia. Wishing I did, but this is Colombian mud, which is special, obviously. Seems to run okay still, which is nice.
Alright.
Yeah, it's good.
How many times did you come off it?
On that trip, in 10 months, 30,000 kilometres or something, it was once.
You fell off once.
Once, yeah, just a low speed thing in Bolivia.
I remember you doing a U-turn and falling off.
Yeah, okay.
So there it is, the Queen Bee. Alright, well, we might leave it there. See you next time on Garage Night. Let's crack open a beer.